coming from the Ida Harris class. And I'm so excited about this lesson this morning because one, it reminds me so much of us. And two, it has some very good points in it that we must be mindful of. It's coming from Unit 2, Wisdom in the Gospel. Wisdom that astonish and offends is our title. And the key verse, when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogues, and many hearing him were astonished, saying, from whence hath this man these things? And what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works were wrought by his hand? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph, and of Judah and Simon? Are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. This morning, our lesson aim is to identify the reasons or reasons why the people in Nazareth could not accept the wisdom with which Jesus spoke. Repent of occasion when Jesus' words resulted in your taking offense rather than accepting the wisdom inherent in his words, in those words. Commit to accepting the words of Jesus even when his words are challenging and stretching. A very good lesson this morning because it's a personal lesson pretty much, and it causes us to search ourselves and also causes us to correct some things that we have done and things that we're doing. What I like is at the end of the lesson, our closing thought, your life in your world, draws direct contrast to our lesson, and it causes us to think even deeper. And I'd like to go over those with you this morning. It's a little strange, but I think we'll get more out of it coming from you. What do you think? Why is there often tension between a person and his or her family hometown? The question, why do you think is often tension between a person and their hometown, even their own families? A lot of time we desire to do better, and we seek the blessings of God on our lives. And when God begins to bless us in ways, there are those who are in our hometowns and even in our families don't accept what God has deposited in us. And it seems as if they think that we're not worthy or capable of handling or being bestowed such grace and glory. Oftentimes that happens, and it causes many folks, some to leave their family, leave their hometown, leave their loved ones and even their friends because those folks won't accept them. So let's look at a closing thought here. It says, some people amaze us by displaying unexpected wisdom. And it does. What happened when people show such extraordinary wisdom? Mark tells us that the people in Jesus' hometown were both astonished and offended by Jesus' wise teaching, and the religious leaders were when Jesus challenged their tradition. And it happens many times when people challenge us in our position or in our tradition, that we get offended, even if we know they're telling the truth. Many times, instead of us trying to correct our ways, we'll more or less try and defend our ways by casting doubt on those who brought the truth in. It's important for us to understand that God works in mysterious ways, and he has miracles to be performed, and he can even do it in us. Sometimes God sends folks into our lives to shake our traditions so that we can do better. God desired to move us to a better place, but we want to stay right where we are. And anyone comes in threatening the position that we're in, we feel as if they are wrong and don't have a right to do so. But can I bother you this morning just to think back and see, are you really doing as much as God will have you to do? Or is you just doing enough just to get by? What a great question. That's what happened in Jesus' hometown. He was only doing enough. They were only doing enough just to get by. And Jesus was bothered. It wasn't that Jesus was so bothered or was trying to bother them or make them do better. It was just that Jesus was displaying the gift that had been bestowed on him. He was doing a great work. And many times when we do great works, our works are not received by those who God has allowed us to be a part of their lives. And it's sad. But my brothers and sisters, I want you today to just check and think and look back and see if there has been a time in your life that you have acted in that fashion. Because I know many times, I have been accosted with such accusation and things of that caliber. Because who, him? We oftentimes look at people past and feel as if they are still in their past or they can't move from their past. But can I tell you something? Our past sometimes come to push us into our future. A second thought, your life. It says, we can't be too hard on people of Jesus' hometown. We've had situations where we had our doubts about the class cut up, who's become a respected pastor or community leader, or the worst person in the math class who is now a distinguished physics professor. This week, let's work more to remove any Nazareth thinking in our heart. What it's saying here in this text here is that we've all at some point in time, we have had those class clowns or whatever the case may be, and they moved on to great things, and we look back at them now and say, no, I don't, no, couldn't be. He was the nut, he was the this, he was the that, or she was this, or she was that. But they have moved on. And that's because of what God has deposited in them. Sometimes when we stop acting in the flesh and begin to act in the spirit, people will see a difference in us. So that's what he's saying here, that second point. Let us think back and remove our the thinking in our hearts of those Nazarene thoughts. This was Jesus' hometown. And if any place he should have been received, should have been in his hometown. They should have been proud to have such a man coming from their hometown. But no, the word was out. Oftentimes, when they asked, who is this Jesus? They would say, he's of Nazareth. And the question even came up one time, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? What a thought. So, let's just think about that. And when we begin to move ourselves away from that type of thinking, it betters us. And guess what? It opens the door for opportunities to happen in our life. Then we become less selfish. If you read the introductory to this lesson, you will read about a young man who had moved away and came back, and he was teaching Bible study, and people could not receive his teaching. There was those who could, but there was a few who could not. And it wasn't that he had did anything wrong. It was simply because he was showing them, or he was displaying wisdom, and it was beyond their comprehension. The reason why, because they felt like such great wisdom should not have been deposited in such a body or in such a person. We should not never think that way, because if we believe God is who he is and he's able to do all things but fail, then we must surely understand that God can use whomsoever he desires to teach, to spread, and to do his good will. And our job is to accept the will of God for our lives, concerning us for our lives. And the sooner we do that, the much better we are. Your world. I remember growing up listening to Walter Cronkite on the evening news. Whatever he said, our family accepted it as true. Today, we can no longer employ that type of trust. Polls show that people in America are more skeptical than ever before, even of organized religion. This week, be on the lookout for the skeptic, to minister to, keeping in mind that it might be someone in your own hometown. It says that they was comfortable with Walter Cronkite, a man who they never, the only place they ever seen him was on television, but never visited their homes or been in their community. But whatever he said, they felt it is to be true. Just think, even today, we would accept what someone else from somewhere else comes and tells us. Even in our churches, we will accept a man of God from another region who we've never known before we would accept one that has grew up among us. The Bible tells us, know them that labor among you. Know them. And what it means by that is know their works. Because I'm here to tell you today that even though those have been wrong in time past, have done things wrong in time past, and have done things that was out of way, does not prohibit them from being able to do the work of God. Many of us believe in Paul's teaching in the Bible, but then we won't accept the same type of person in our own churches and where they come from. But I'm here to tell you today, as I close this lesson, God can take a crooked stick and strike a straight leg. Thank you. From the Ida B. Harris class, take those thoughts into mind, and let's do better with our thinking so that we might be more pleasing to God in our doing. Thank you.